There are moments in life when everything feels ordinary. The routine, the noise, the familiar steps of each day. Yet beneath the surface of it all, something stirs. A whisper, a pull, a sense that someone, somewhere, is thinking of you too. Not in the way the world speaks of love, but in a language the soul remembers. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like you've known them forever, even if it was the first time you met? It's not coincidence. It's not fantasy. It's a calling. Quiet, invisible, and powerful. It doesn't come with signs written in the sky, but in the soft ache of longing, in the quiet moments when the world fades and your heart speaks louder than reason. This video isn't about fairy tales or quick answers. It's about a deeper truth, one that lives inside of you, a truth that says love is not something you find, it's something you awaken to. And sometimes that awakening begins with a person, a presence, a mirror of your soul that appears not to complete you, but to remind you of who you are beyond the stories you've lived. The twin flame journey isn't an escape from the world. It's an invitation to return to yourself. It's not always easy, and it's not always kind, but it is real. Real in the way that silence can be loud. Real in the way that your heart races without knowing why. Real in the way that certain connections don't fade, no matter how much time passes or how far life pulls you apart. What you're about to hear may not follow the logic of the mind, but it will speak directly to the memory of your soul. If you've ever felt that love must be more than what you've been taught, if you've ever sensed that your life is part of something greater, something sacred, then you are already on the path. Welcome. This is the beginning of a journey, not outward, but inward. Not to someone else, but back to yourself. And in that return, everything changes. There are meetings that don't belong to this lifetime. They carry the scent of something older, like echoes from another world, softly brushing against the edges of now. When two souls who have danced across lifetimes finally meet again, it's not a beginning, it's a return. You may not recognize their face, you may not even remember their name, but your soul does. It knows. There's a silence that falls between you, yet it's rich with memory. Words are clumsy here, because what you're feeling has no need for explanation. It's the kind of connection that doesn't grow with time. It's simply remembered, immediate, electric, ancient. This is what people often call the meeting of twin flames. Not a romantic fantasy, but a spiritual homecoming. It's the moment when two parts of the same essence find each other in physical form. After lifetimes of searching through the veils of illusion and time, there's a strange kind of peace in it, and at the same time, a storm. Because the soul recognizes truth, and truth demands awakening, and awakening rarely comes gently. In that moment of reunion, everything you thought you were begins to tremble. All the masks, all the roles, all the walls, they start to crack under the weight of something purer. You're not being pulled toward a person. You're being pulled toward your highest self. And that is the gift and the challenge of meeting an ancient soul you've loved before. It's not about completion. It's about remembrance. Not about being saved, but about becoming whole. This person may feel like a lover, a mirror, a storm, a sunrise, all at once. They stir something in you that you didn't even know was asleep, and you, unknowingly, do the same to them. Your souls speak in symbols, in the way your energies sync, in the way silence becomes sacred, in the way time bends around your presence. And though it may seem magical, and it is, this connection is not here to keep you comfortable. It's here to wake you up, You may begin to feel emotions that don't make sense, longing that has no name, fear that doesn't belong to this life. You may see them in dreams before you meet. You may hear their voice in your intuition. You may feel a love so raw that it unravels everything you thought love was supposed to be. This is the power of old souls reuniting. It goes beyond stories, beyond logic, beyond this body, this moment, this lifetime. And the universe, wise and patient, brings this reunion not when you crave it, but when you're ready to begin the deeper work. The work of healing, the work of shedding, the work of returning. When two ancient souls meet, the world may not notice, but your inner world changes forever. You can't go back to sleep once you've tasted that truth. You may try, you may even walk away, but something within you stays lit. It's not a flame you control, it's a flame that reveals. And perhaps that's what makes this journey both beautiful and terrifying. Because in the eyes of that soul, you're not allowed to pretend, not anymore. You're invited to remember who you are, entirely, authentically, eternally. And that is the beginning of everything. Some connections don't come to comfort you. They come to confront you. They arrive like mirrors, not to flatter your reflection, but to show you everything you've hidden from yourself. Every fear, every wound, every false layer you've picked up along the way. The twin flame is one such mirror, and it is divine not because it is gentle, but because it is true. When you stand before this soul, you are no longer allowed to hide. Their presence awakens not only your light, your beauty, your passion, your potential, but also your shadow. The parts of you you've avoided, the emotions you've buried, the pain you've learned to silence just to survive. At first, it may feel like love in its purest form, and it is. But love, real love, doesn't just soothe, it transforms. And transformation always comes with fire. You may notice it in the way they trigger you. A simple word, a moment of silence, a look, and suddenly, you're spiraling. Old emotions rush back. Abandonment, rejection, unworthiness. Wounds you thought were long gone reopen, not to hurt you, but to invite healing. The divine mirror doesn't punish you. It reveals you. And in that revelation, something sacred begins, the process of becoming whole. Because what if healing isn't about fixing what's broken, but remembering that you were never broken to begin with? What if your shadow isn't your enemy, but your guide, a map written in pain, leading you back to your truth? That's what this connection teaches you, often in the most unexpected ways. You may find yourself angry, confused, even scared. You may wonder why something that feels so right can also feel so overwhelming. But the truth is, your soul chose this meeting, not for comfort, but for evolution. They are not here to complete you. They are here to reflect what still asks for your love. And it's not just about the shadow. The divine mirror also shows you your brilliance, the kindness you forgot you had, the power you tried to shrink, the dreams you buried under practicality and fear. They reflect the version of you that already exists. Beneath the conditioning, the pain, the doubt. To be seen in this way is humbling. To see someone else in this way is awe-inspiring. Because when you look into their eyes, you don't just see them, you see yourself. And in doing so, you begin to remember the light was always yours. Still, the journey is not easy. Sometimes you'll want to run. Sometimes they will. That's part of it too. The push and pull, the resistance, the surrender. Each step is sacred. Each emotion is a doorway. Healing in this connection is rarely linear. It spirals. But with every loop, you rise, a little stronger, a little freer, a little more in tune with who you truly are. In the end, this mirror doesn't only change how you see them, it changes how you see everything. Your past, your purpose, your presence, and that is the greatest gift of all, to see yourself, all of you, and still choose love. Not all love stories are meant to be lived side by side. Some are written in the stars, but played out in the silence between them. This is the paradox of the twin flame path, where the deepest love often requires the deepest distance. It's painful, unexplainable. One moment, your soul feels at home in someone's presence. The next, that home disappears, leaving you with empty hands and a heart full of questions. You ask yourself, how can something that felt so right suddenly vanish? But this is not the end. It's a sacred stage of becoming. The separation isn't punishment, it's preparation. When twin flames are pulled apart, it's not because the connection is broken. It's because it's too strong to be lived from a wounded place. The distance arrives like a teacher, one that speaks through silence and solitude. It teaches you to stand on your own, to listen to your inner voice, to face the shadows you once tried to escape through the other. You start to realize the longing you feel isn't just for them. It's for yourself, for the parts of you that got lost in the mirror of their love, for the dreams you delayed, the healing you postponed, the truth you ignored. This sacred distance forces you to look inward, to rebuild not what was, but who you are becoming. And yes, it hurts, because you miss their presence like air. But healing asks for space to breathe, to grow, to awaken. This part of the journey is where your soul sharpens, where your love matures, where you shift from needing them to understanding them, from attachment to alignment, from pain to purpose. You begin to see the divine intelligence behind it all, how the separation didn't happen to take them away from you. It happened to bring you back to yourself, stronger, softer, whole. And when you reach that place, that sacred clarity within, you understand something extraordinary. The love never left. It only changed form. It became presence, prayer, power. So if you're in the space of not knowing, of waiting, of aching, trust the distance. Let it be your teacher. Let it strip away the illusions. Let it deepen your love, not weaken it. Because one day, whether in this lifetime or another, you'll look back and see that what felt like separation was, in truth, the most sacred union of all, the union with your own soul. And from there, all things are possible. There comes a moment on the twin flame path when the longing softens and the questions quiet. Not because you've stopped caring, but because something deeper has taken root. Surrender. This is not giving up. It's not walking away. Surrender is the soul's way of saying, I trust. It's the place you arrive after the storm, when your heart has been broken open enough to let something greater flow through it. In the beginning, love is filled with desire, to hold, to know, to be chosen, to be understood. But twin flame love is not ordinary. It doesn't follow the rules of attachment or expectation. It stretches you until you learn to love without needing, until your love is no longer about possession, but liberation. To surrender is to release the story you wrote in your mind, the timelines, the roles, the conditions. It's to love someone so deeply that you no longer need them to fit into your version of how things should unfold. You love them not because they are with you, but because they exist. You begin to see them not as your missing piece, but as a reflection of your wholeness. Their freedom becomes more important than your control. Their growth more sacred than your comfort. And strangely, in letting go, the love becomes purer, stronger, infinite. This is the love that no longer says, "I need you," but instead, "I see you. I honor your path, even if it doesn't include me in the way I once hoped." It's a quiet kind of strength, a soft power. It doesn't chase, it doesn't beg, it trusts in divine timing, and it listens to the deeper rhythm of the soul. In surrender, you realize that your journey was never about the other. It was always about awakening the love within you, the kind that doesn't break under distance, the kind that doesn't vanish with silence, the kind that stays, not out of fear, but out of truth. You can still love them, miss them, pray for them, but your peace no longer depends on their presence. This is the threshold where twin flame love becomes unconditional. Not just a feeling, but a way of being. It's the love that transforms you, not through promises, but through presence, not through holding on, but through letting be. And in that sacred surrender, something magical happens. You are no longer waiting for love to come from outside you. You are embodying the love you've been searching for all along. And that is the most powerful reunion of all. At some point on the twin flame journey, after the longing, the searching, the ache of separation, and the lessons of surrender, you arrive at a sacred place within yourself, the center. This is the moment when the love you once directed outward turns inward, not out of bitterness or loss, but out of realization. You begin to see that what you were seeking in another was always calling from within you. The inner union is the reunion of your own soul, your divine feminine and sacred masculine, your light and shadow, your heart and your truth. It is the harmony between your softness and your strength, the peace between your longing and your becoming. Here, you are no longer waiting, you are remembering. You remember who you are without the stories, without the fear, without the masks you wore to be loved, chosen, or understood. You begin to hold space for yourself in the way you once begged another to hold space for you. You forgive the version of you that didn't know better. You honor the version of you that survived, and you welcome the version of you that is now ready to live fully, freely, authentically. This is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a deeper chapter. Because when you return to your center, you no longer chase love. You become it. You become the calm in your own storm, the fire in your own silence, the safety you once searched for in someone else's eyes. And from this place, everything changes. Your energy shifts. You no longer attract from a place of lack, but from wholeness. You no longer look for completion. You radiate it. The world no longer reflects your wounds, but your healing. In this sacred space, you realize that the union you desired with another was always meant to lead you back here, to the sacred marriage within, the place where your soul rests in itself, the place where you are no longer divided, but whole. And yes, the twin flame may return, or they may not, but that's no longer your center. Your center is you, rooted, radiant, real. This inner union becomes your compass, not just in love, but in life. You begin to move from truth, speak from clarity, and choose from love. And in this return to yourself, you are no longer seeking home. You are home. This is the gift of the journey. Not that someone else brings you love, but that you discover, at last, you are the love. After the fire of awakening, after the surrender and the inner union, a quiet voice begins to rise from within, steady, clear, and undeniable. It is not the voice of longing or fear or desire. It is the voice of purpose, the soul calling you forward. This is the moment when your journey no longer revolves around union with the other, but around union with the divine within you. You begin to understand that everything, the meeting, the separation, the healing, was preparation, not just for love, but for service. The soul mission is not always grand or loud. It does not demand a stage or applause. Often it begins in silence, a pull toward something deeper, a stirring in your heart that refuses to be ignored. It whispers, "You were born for more," and you were. Twin flames are not here only to find each other. They are here to awaken, to rise, and to remember why they came. Your soul mission is the way you bring light into the world. Through your words, your work, your presence. It's how you channel everything you've learned through the fire of transformation and offer it as medicine to others. Not because you have all the answers, but because you now live with your heart open. It could be through art, healing, teaching, leading, or simply being a beacon of love in everyday life. Whatever the form, the essence is always the same. Alignment. You begin to live in alignment with your truth. You begin to act not from fear, but from faith. You begin to create not to be seen, but to serve. And in this service, you feel a new kind of fulfillment, not the fleeting kind that comes from attention or recognition, but the quiet joy that comes from living in purpose. Your pain becomes your wisdom. Your journey becomes your offering. Your love becomes your legacy. You realize that you are no longer waiting for your twin flame to return in order to begin your life. You are living it now, fully, consciously, powerfully. And perhaps this is what activates the true reunion. Not the longing, but the becoming. Not the grasping, but the giving. Not the search for union, but the embodiment of wholeness. Because the universe responds not to your need, but to your vibration. And when you are vibrating in your soul mission, you are in your highest truth. You are no longer just a seeker. You are a guide, a lighthouse, a living flame. And that is the greatest love story of all. The one where your soul answers its calling and remembers why it came. There is a kind of love that does not fade with time nor bend to logic. A love that endures storms, silences, and separations. A love that stretches far beyond romance, into awakening, into becoming, into purpose. This is the love of twin flames. Not a fairy tale, but a sacred fire. Not the ending, but the beginning of everything real. Along this path, you are broken open. Not to suffer, but to see the truth of who you are, to meet your own soul in the reflection of another, and in that mirror, begin the journey home. Home to yourself, home to your light, home to the love that was never outside of you. You realize now, the reunion was never just about being with another. It was about becoming whole, and from that wholeness, everything changes. The love you now carry is not dependent. It is not desperate. It is anchored, clear, radiant. It's the kind of love that creates peace where there was pain. That brings healing just by being present. That inspires others to awaken to their own truth. This is the love that transforms worlds, because it begins within, and everything outside of you is touched by the love you've cultivated inside. You love differently now, not because the other changed, but because you did. You learned to stay soft without breaking, to stay open without losing yourself, to trust the path even when you couldn't see the next step. And now, you are no longer searching, you are shining. This journey, with all its ache, beauty, mystery, and grace, was never a detour. It was destiny, the soul's wild and sacred return to its essence. So if you ever doubt your path, remember this: you were not meant for the ordinary. You were meant for the kind of love that shakes the ground, lifts the soul, and rewrites what's possible. You were meant for a love that doesn't just change your life, it changes you, and through you, it changes everything. If this journey touched something deep within you, don't walk it alone. Subscribe to the channel for more soul-deep insights. Share your story in the comments. Your voice might be the light someone else is searching for. Like this video if you believe love is a path of awakening, and turn on notifications so you never miss a message meant for your heart. You're not just watching a video. You're remembering who you are. Welcome home.